Hey, you guys, welcome back for another dose of devotion. For those of you who are just joining us, my name is Jaquila, and I'm simply just a girl who loves the Lord so much that I have to share him with others, and I do it by way of these devotionals. Now, we are currently in a quote unquote series that is surrounding the story of the three Hebrew boys, which is found in Daniel chapter 3. Now, yesterday on our last devotional, I spoke about how everyone is disposable to the enemy. And I got that revelation from the portion of the story where the king tells his soldiers to throw the boys into the furnace. And at the point where they threw them into the furnace, the soldiers died, right? Now following that, it goes through, because that ended at chapter or verse 22. So if we continue on, from verse 23 to 25, that is where they see that the three Hebrew boys were in the furnace walking around. Not only were they walking around, they were walking around unbound. And that not only were they walking around unbound, but they were walking around unbound, and there was a fourth man in the fire. Hallelujah. There was a fourth man in the fire. And in the NLT version, it says, looks like a God. Some versions say, looks like the Son of God. And we know, or we believe that to have been Jesus, right? So if we continue to go and read verses 26, starting at Daniel chapter 3, verse 26, it reads, Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the flaming furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothes were not scorched. They didn't even smell of smoke. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel to rescue his servants who trusted in him. They defied the king's command and were willing to die rather than serve or worship any God except their own God, big G. Therefore, I make this decree: if any people, whatever their race or nation or language, speak a word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be turned into heaps of rubble. There is no other God who can rescue like this. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to even higher positions in the province of Babylon. So, you guys, what I pulled from that reading in my devotional time is that God's faithfulness is influential, but we must stand. God's faithfulness is influential, but we must stand. If they would have bowed, God would not have been able to reveal himself in such a mighty way. He proved himself to be powerful to the Hebrew boys, Nebuchadnezzar, and the onlookers. In the end, Nebuchadnezzar declared God not only to be God of the three Hebrew boys, but also God of gods, according to their given names. Shadrach, which means the command of the moon god; Meshach, who is like the moon god; and Abednego, servant of Nebo. So again, God showed himself mighty, and it was due to their faithfulness that he was able to expose or reveal his faithfulness. He was able to show that, hey, if you bow, if you continue to reverence me, I'll be right there beside you in the midst of whatever it is that you may go through. If you stay faithful to me, I will stay faithful to you, not to leave you, not to forsake you, not to have you looking like a fool, right? God is so good. And from their faithfulness, they receive promotion from someone who did not even revere or honor their God, right? And not only did they receive promotion, but he put a decree in place to honor the God that they serve. Hallelujah. So I encourage us all to stand bold, to stand firm, right? In the very things of our God, big G, right? I love you guys, and we will be back tomorrow for another devotional. The next devotional, I'm going to kind of dive deeper into the names of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I shared them today, but I want to show just how God can be, right? So I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.